and welcome back to Kohler Commentary. Today I am joined by Michelle Kim. And if you're listening from our church community, you might know her as the welcoming spirit that shares announcements every Sunday with so much passion. But if you're a part of our Dallas community and beyond, you've definitely seen her around on the internet as the founder of Color, a color analysis studio. I wanted to invite Michelle onto the podcast to share her incredible journey to how she got to where she is today, why she is so passionate about this job, and maybe we can talk a little bit about how her Enneagram 2 naturally pours into her work. So welcome, Michelle, to the podcast.
Yay! Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here. I guess a quick introduction of myself is that my name is Michelle Kim. I'm originally from New York, but I moved to Dallas about a little more than 2 years ago. And yeah, I've had different sorts of jobs before coming to be a personal color consultant. But now I am into personal color and I started Color literally a month ago.
Oh, wow. Only a month. You have been popping off. How has it only been okay, but before we go into kind of that journey, can you explain to the listeners what color analysis even is?
Of course. So personal color, we say, is the color that refers to the color that is in harmony with what a person is born with, strictly meaning their physical features and their physical attributes such as hair color, eye color, skin color, and so on. And it's also important to note that this color is usually, it exists as a spectrum as opposed to just one or two specific color. And yeah, when I say it's a color that is in harmony with the person's physical attributes, it's referring to the color that allows you to be perceived naturally as opposed to anything that kind of points to artificiality or something that's a little too forced upon.
Okay. So then how, and I do kind of know this, right? And I did my own color analysis in Korea. And I was so sad because then I saw you start this whole thing and I feel like it's the perfect fit for you and who you are and kind of how you do this work. So I would love to know how you got into this work. And before that, if someone were to see it on social media or online, they would say like, Nay Color. So like, what is this name that you came up with? And then how did you get here professionally?
Yeah, that's a great question. So yes, you can say 내 color, or specifically it is titled 내 color, meaning my color roughly in Korean. And I got to get started into this field when I first got a personal color consultation myself last year. So that's kind of where the training and certification ideas on how I could also go on that track began. But in terms of how I got into the realm of art and just that creative space is something that has always been a part of me since I was little, to be honest. I definitely remember some of my best memories growing up of being in that flow state when I was in my art studio, whether I was painting or drawing or making scratch art or making collages. And I think that from there, I always knew that I enjoyed art. Art classes were definitely my favorite growing up. And from there, I also kind of realized that I enjoyed sharing knowledge. And this kind of came through, I would say, from volunteering and just being in, whether it was summer schools or peer mentor groups, and just being in clubs that allowed me to form relationships and mentorship programs that really allowed me to explore the realm of teaching and imparting knowledge. And I just really enjoyed that. And I think from there, I knew that I especially loved teaching when I would go into presentations, in college. And man, I definitely appreciated presenting my findings and my work as opposed to writing like 12-page essays. Like I would love to give you a presentation on what I learned. And I really feel confident in being able to share that knowledge as opposed to putting all that on paper that I typed up by myself in a room.
Why do you think so?
Yeah, I think it's definitely the people aspect, like being in front of a real audience and having like the person in the flesh. The ambiance is just different. I think when the person is there right in front of you, there is the energy that they're able to radiate that I very much enjoy and appreciate. So from there, I went into college for education, became a teacher.
Woohoo, teaching.
Yeah, I did exactly that. And I think as I was in the classroom, I was also really able to have that creative outlet that I always knew that I had. So I really did enjoy it for the time that I did. And then when I moved to Dallas, because all all of that was happening in New York. Moving to Dallas, I took a break and then I actually did a career change where I went into recruiting. And then being in recruiting allowed me to still have that people interaction. I'm interviewing people, I'm getting to hear their stories, really bringing out their strengths and seeing if it would be a good part for certain roles at the company. But I definitely felt a part of myself that was still longing to have that creative outlet because you don't have to make art to have good interviews.
Yeah.
So I would say that's when, after doing recruiting for about a little more than a year, that's when I definitely wanted to explore a little bit into bring art into my career field. And that kind of fast forwards now with when I got my personal color analysis done and then realizing, hey, this is maybe also something that I could try doing as well, since it ties in teaching and meeting up with people, that consultation process, and literally, going into color theory and art and all that.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever watched a reel so closely that had historical artwork up there and then hearing such a passionate person, you, share how that becomes a part of color theory. And I think like your passion definitely exudes in that. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, I will link it in one of our stories on social media. But I think you can see how while you love kind of like that in-person aspect or like really sharing that knowledge, it also really just shows that you're truly passionate about the information, right? And like sharing what that looks like. And I think that's very evident. And for even how people have shared like how much of positive experience they've had. And so I would love to know this as well. One question I had was, did something go on in your head? Like, was there like a firework moment when this was happening in Korea where you were like, oh, I can bring this back? Because I was trying to get a color analysis and I was like, oh, I'm going to be in LA for these dates. And there was like one there that I was like trying to get, but it was so hard to get it. And then I ended up just, since I was going to Korea, that's where I did it. But I was like, oh, they should do something like this in Dallas. Like, it's so good. But we're always like 10 years behind, I feel like, California when it comes to certain things. And so I feel like you saw an opportunity that was really ideal, but also it's perfect for like your passions in general, you know? What was the mindset in terms of making that a reality?
Yeah, it definitely was a process because by default, and also based on my job and internship track record, I am very much more so someone that kind of preferred that 9 to 5.
Oh, okay.
Kind of having that traditional career route, hence also why I wanted to become a teacher. Like, you know, you're going to be at a school, you know your hours, it's pretty much set. But I think as I kind of opened up the longing that I had while being in recruiting to my like close friends and family and just brothers and sisters at church about how there is this part of me that I feel like is not being used, and I know it's given from God. And I think as I had those people speak into that of, you know, I think this is something that you should then explore. Like, what is stopping you from suppressing it or not making use of it? And I think when I really did reflect on that, it did come down to, it was myself and my ideals, like my idea of what like a secure job looks like. But I think truly as I had people speak into that, and that allowed me to broaden my range of what jobs could look like nowadays. And I mean, in 2024, I feel like if anything, this is truly the year where there are so many various types of jobs that are more acknowledged than ever before.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that all just kind of compiled and it aligned into the perfect scenario that allowed me to, okay,
wow,
why not? Yeah, let's try it out and see where this goes. So I definitely was able to go into it with a more open mindset that took time and people's input and my own research and like my studies too into like how did other people start the successful businesses that we literally make use of to this day.
Right.
And yeah, it's all so different. And it was not that traditional set path.
Yeah.
And I think that also really inspired me to be adventurous and see what doors God will open and just come along, with him.
Yeah. And I feel like even with Michael's job too, like I feel like y'all's timing in general for like everything is really cool to hear, like bigger picture. And so even for you, that's like kind of amazing that this all happened the way it did. And even like your professional career and how like you developed those skills that led you to here. And so let's talk about what kind of sets you apart, Michelle. Because honestly, so I got to experience a color analysis, like I said, in Korea, and I enjoyed it a lot, but I also didn't resonate with my final color, which was the spring light, because one of those colors is like pale pink, light pink, something pink, but like a lighter color, right? And so even though I didn't resonate with that color, I was like, okay, this was a good experience. I did something unique to Korea, I guess. But I would be curious, like, what about for clients like myself or someone else that might not like the color you end up saying to them is their color almost? Like, what would you say in terms of like, how do you balance those superficial aspects of color that a lot of people go into this thinking about, and then you kind of bring them deeper into the passion that you bring with it?
Yeah, that's a great question.
Thank you.
Of course. It's not like you do a podcast, right? Yeah, I would say for people who come in with the worry that, oh, I might get a color and I might not like it, or what if it's something that I'm dreading. I really want to encourage people to understand that. So once again, personal color, the goal of it is to achieve that balance and harmony. So to do this, we're repeating the individual strengths that you were born with, and we are supplementing the parts of you that you're relatively lacking. And if you think about it, that's why when we place certain colors on you, it really helps to just understand, what kind of effect that color has on you, so that you have a better understanding of how you can still enhance your features by other means, whether it's another color, other textures, other designs, and other overall styles. So also I want to say that for anyone who kind of comes in thinking that, black is something that I really want to wear, or I only stick to neutrals, sure. There are absolutely people who come in with their personal preferences, and when they come in still wanting to wear that, that's totally okay. But it's still important to note that there is a difference between choosing a color blindly versus choosing a color having the knowledge of what effect that color has on you. And I also want to paint the scenario of when someone comes in to a gym with a certain fitness goal in mind and they want to start working out and get healthy. There's a difference in maybe checking your BMI first and getting your physical examination first to know what you are deficient in and what areas you would need to strengthen most, as opposed to someone who comes into the gym and just starts working out everything with no knowledge. Wouldn't you agree? That they're definitely...
Matt would agree, yes. I would be the blind person and needing someone to hold my hand. So this is a good analogy. Yes, continue.
Yeah, for sure. No, there is absolutely a difference.
Yeah.
Even if I were to use myself as an example, if I say that I didn't love the color orange, but I really wanted to use it for a specific look or a specific style, I know that when I place the orange that's too close to my face, if I wear it as a turtleneck or a halter neck dress, as opposed to a belt color or a shoe, so away from the face, I have a better idea of how I can use that color while still considering the influence that it would have on my skin complexion.
How interesting. Oh my gosh. I feel like this is a whole realm that I haven't really touched into, right? And I think in general, maybe it's also with like the language barrier that might be in Korea. Like you are fluent in Korean, both speaking and listening. But for me, going in there, it was broken English to me versus pretending like I know a little more even, right? And so like kind of like 아쉬워 right now. Maybe I'll go back to Matt and check our budget, because like I think it's so important to like, right, in these experiences that we get to do is like also fully take in the knowledge that's given to you with that. And while this is such a big thing to do in Korea because it's like a big trend, I think the maximum output would be to do it here, actually, you know, or like if that language barrier's there is kind of what I feel, because I think even as you share just little bits and pieces, whether it's on your social media or like in conversations passing, like I bought pink shoes, just like, you know, because you made that real, you know, and I think like there's a way to really capture that passion for others, and the way someone teaches or the way that information is passed along is so powerful as well. And so I also wanted to ask, before I go deeper into color itself and like what other messages you would maybe want to share with your audience or with your clients, if I was just a new client, give me a picture of what I might be walking into. What is something maybe you hope clients would take away?
Yeah, of course. I wouldn't want people to come in hoping to get typed or categorized, because I also want to put out there that just like a Myers-Briggs or an Enneagram, I'm sure.
Yes, you're speaking to me as a coach. Yeah, keep going, keep going.
Oh, let me try to use your lingo. It ends there. Yeah, like just because one person is Enneagram 2 doesn't mean that another person who's a Enneagram 2 is exactly the same as the first person.
Right here in this room, you and me.
Perfect example in the flesh. So just like that, it is similar with personal color types, the 12 seasonal types of just because someone is a true summer doesn't mean that another person who is also typed as a true summer would have the exact same colors that complement them best as the other true summer. It's very much the case that in the one palette of true summer, there is someone who might actually look better in the lighter colors from there or the darker colors from there. And that varies, of course, based on your physical attributes because the color, the temperature, value, saturation of each one, it varies widely. And I hope people can really leave with a shift in perspective where they no longer question, is this my color or can I wear this color and have any fear or reservations about it, but rather think, how can I wear this color after having a better understanding of my physical attributes and knowing the different nuances that each color brings. So for someone to look at a color and understand, oof, if I put this color too close to my face, I know that it will bring too much warmth, therefore throwing it off balance. So I would like to use this color, or I know how to use this color by putting it somewhat further away, or maybe using it as a hair accessory, so even away from the face, like that also would help. Yeah, truly with that empowerment, better understanding and the knowledge of how to incorporate color.
I feel like I hear you also saying that you, like for example, in the one reel you made for me when I said it was a spring, you also shared that you thought in the lens of what would a mom maybe wear. I think I heard you say that. And I think that was helpful not just for me, but I heard a couple other friends of mine also like take into account at least the style, even if that color wasn't theirs. They also were like, oh, at least like I know maybe what types of outfits would look good or whatnot, you know? And like I hear also like maybe certain clips or certain belts. I feel like I'm hearing you really customize to your client is what I am saying, but I don't know if you have experiences of that or like cases where even how you recommend certain types of clothing or what that looks like in these sessions.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely.
I don't know if I'm talking the lingo. So.
No, I'm catching on. I'm catching on. Definitely want to also reassure anyone who is potentially interested that I do treat this as a consultation process where I am here to consult with my clients, being you, and make sure that you really come out of it feeling like it was helpful to you, that it added value, that it was insightful, and it is something that you really were able to gain knowledge and helpful information that you could actually apply. Hence, being it a consultation process rather than something where you just get roasted, which is, I feel like, a lot of the ways that social media portrays it. But I don't know, that's really not the way that I want to approach personal color analysis.
If you saw on a reel on social media of a Korean color analysis consultant calling that face like peanut face or something, cucumber face, that's not what Michelle is bringing to this session. She will bring the opposite. She'll bring you life and empowerment that for you to own.
I like that.
Yeah.
Thanks, Joey.
Because it's true. What do you see online? Because that can very much scare someone away from, trying themselves.
Yeah. So I very much want to actually ask clients too, like, is there a specific goal that they have? Is there a certain need that needs to be filled from getting your personal color analysis session? And I do ask my clients that because a lot of them come with honestly different goals. Some of them say that they recently gave birth and their body is not the same. So they are not sure how to dress while still feel like the style that they're wearing is a true expression of themselves. And some people also come in just saying, it's been years since I've done a closet clean out. I really would love to just kind of start over in my styles and the investment pieces that I choose. But I want a clear direction so I don't waste money by buying all these things because I thought it looked good on me, only to find out later that, I don't feel that great in it. And maybe I bought that in the moment because I was just in a great mood, or that it was an impulsive buy. And
oh my gosh,
so many different reasons for why people come. And I really want to make sure that I do cater the consultation to that. So I really do appreciate people who are clear about that as well. And just the overall consultation to be as customized to the the client themselves. Yeah.
So then I would be curious for you. You are a newly found small business owner. What kind of goes into your mind being a small business owner, right? I'm sure a lot of others might be able to relate on what that process could look like. What do you take into account because you're a small business owner? What do you believe you market out to set the color apart in this world of color analysis where it is getting like more and more popular? And then how would you maybe incorporate your own personal journey into this business that is definitely growing?
Yeah, I would like to continue this small business with the approach and philosophy that it's just another way. This service is another way for people to have a better understanding of themselves and really pick up on the unique aspects that makes up who they are, that there was so much intentionality and careful design placed into the artwork that was created by God, which is you. And I would hope that through the physicality analysis of like taking a look at, maybe your eye shape and like figure or textures of like your skin and all of those, unique aspects, that the person is able to go away just having a greater appreciation and better knowledge and the savviness to be able to, I know what I want to continue enhancing, knowing what I have going on here that I like. And maybe knowing that, for example, like my skin color, if it's just lacking a little bit of the yellow because I have a more pinkish undertone, knowing that when you do bring in certain colors that have more of a yellow undertone, it will be the perfect balance. That's the kind of empowerment and excitement that I want people to experience specifically at Ne Color. And I do want to mention though that using that example, just because you do have a more pinkish undertone does not necessarily mean that you could go ahead and just throw on all these yellow undertone colors because that flexibility also varies per person. So just want to make that clear for anyone who's trying to self-interpret and self-diagnose.
You just got to book a session, right?
Well, thanks for saying it.
Yeah, and then a follow-up if you're confused again.
Loud and clear, yeah. They heard you.
But you kind of get a basic understanding of that the first time we would meet with you, is like what the pinkish and yellow means.
Yeah.
Oh, see, these are things like I still don't know. Oh, this is so interesting. Okay.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. I definitely, love the draping process, but I also love the teaching aspect of my consultations as well. So I really do a brief introduction to what to expect in some of the language so that the client is not confused throughout the process when I say certain terms.
Right.
And depending on the client, if I could tell that they're able to kind of follow or they actually have more questions or they came with other specific set of questions, I very much cater to that. If I could tell that the person is more interested in just kind of like, can you just tell me for what it is? Then I really want to cater to that as well and make it super clear and not put any fillers or allow any room for confusion for the client. Because once again, I really want to have the client leave feeling like that was helpful, that added value to my life and in the best way. And I want to, encourage that.
I'm going to read a review because I think this is quite amazing. I tried to pick one, but there were so many. I'm going to read from America Kimchi. She wrote, "Hi, Michelle. I don't have the words to describe how much fun I had, and I'm so thankful for your help on finding my colors. Other than you being a total professional and making me feel so comfortable during the session, I'm still thinking of my results every day, especially how my colors are not what I thought they were. You really helped me open my eyes to so many new colors I would have never thought to look at. I literally went shopping today with your chart open to make sure I was looking at the right things. Ha ha ha. I feel more confident about style choices now. The knowledge you gave is insanely eye-opening. I absolutely loved everything and have been talking to everyone about it. LOL. Everyone needs to do this at least once. Again, thank you so much." I feel like this was one of many reviews that I was reading through your Instagram, but I feel like it also captures what you were trying to say of how the client would get a certain experience, but that confidence they walk away with to own it themselves, And so I think that's something that I've seen from as an outside viewer of dang, that must be another aspect of what sets you apart is you really do empower that person, I'm just really encouraged by watching you from afar.
Wow. I'm so encouraged. Thank you for sharing. I would have never known, Joey. So thank you for sharing that.
The review?
No, that you were watching me from afar being encouraged.
Oh my gosh. This is genuine, by the way. In our previous chat we had kind of before where I did ask you to commit to a podcast session, you did mention like a deep desire for clients to really see God as our artist. You might have already touched on this throughout the sharing today, but would you want to elaborate anything else on this perspective?
Yeah, I think starting off first as an artist of truly just starting from paints, watercolor paints, acrylic paints, oil paints, you start to have a better idea of why certain colors look quote unquote better, or they just feel really pleasant when you use them like those certain sets together on a canvas. And after taking the course and training on personal color analysis, I think that just further gave me the tools and equipped me to have a better and clear understanding and language to be able to articulate that, wow, the reason why I felt that years back is because God knew what he was doing and he created the world, and as he painted it, as like the analogy that I like to use, he knew that there were a certain set of colors that, when it's placed together, it is psychologically satisfying. And this is proven literally in experiments, and you'll see that there are certain colors that really do bring ease and comfort and peace to the eye. And those colors are usually when complementary colors are placed together and when all three primary colors are present, as opposed to something that is just different shades of green. So taking all of that into consideration, I think I'm able to now apply that into how the natural colors and pigmentations of our bodies also are affected. Whereas before it was just, canvas, or it was just on paper, but now I'm able to pick up on the different hues that maybe our eye color plays into our hair color or our eyebrow color and our undertones, like the skin undertones. And I think all that just allows me to, have more fun and continue to bring that approach that I had with painting into personal color analysis and see our God as our ultimate true artist. And we are the clay. We are his artwork. Yeah, his masterpiece.
Wow. What a great finish to this sentence. Now I see more passion even behind certain reels of the artwork that you share. Like you have an artist's eye and I do not, and so I think even in that you're sharing that overflow of God's artist eye for us, and I think even though you don't have to say that so overtly to whether it's your clients or in your message, like that's so contagious. And so even for me, I never tried to work with the pink that they gave me in my color analysis in Korea, not because I had a bad experience, because it just like there was nothing that made me want to own it, right? And so I think that's like a big factor that you are able to impart onto your clients. And so even for me, if you're a listener of mine, you know that I recently rebranded because I'm still not comfortable wearing pink, but instead I have like a whole backdrop of pink for my color commentary and my profile pictures. And I think like that is another opportunity that you wouldn't really think through if you thought about color analysis. But even now with like you were sharing, some people might come in saying that like you want to also learn how to wear certain colors for rebranding or marketing yourself even. And so that's like a whole nother outlet of like what colors would even make your face pop if you're on the marketing promotional like flyers or whatnot, if you have flexibility to go beyond like black or white or like more professional colors, whatnot, right? But like if your company can be like anything, then like if you know what makes you look alive or like pop out more, I feel like that could also attract audience members for your own company. But that's what I'm kind of thinking through. Oh. Yeah, anyways, with running a small business, I think that's also logistically time consuming. Like you said before, how do you create boundaries in that area? How do you manage your time or your energy while I'm sure you're pouring out because you're working with people and you're sharing so much knowledge and excitement? There is an energy of you that is overflowing. Like, how do you manage time or manage what that looks like as you want to grow the business long term?
Yeah, being a small business owner is definitely different from having your 9-to-5 job, because from this experience, I'm really able to see how, I'm sure you can relate to this too, Joey, how like the greatest asset that you could bring to your small business is literally your time. Mm-hmm. Without you, the business doesn't exist. It doesn't run in the same way. Nothing close to the real deal when you are present. And I think that in mind, really just like wants me to spend a even better use or like more of a quote unquote healthy and productive use of my time by making sure that the time that I spend on myself is truly for myself. So making sure that the time that I have to myself is spent on really working on my body, like physically. So going to the gym, working out, or making sure that I'm in a better mental health state too by really taking the time to cook my own meals and making use of my own hands instead of, always just finding a shortcut, which of course life happens and I definitely order in too. But I think really being intentional with the time that I use, like that is really what I'm trying to say, has allowed me to not only better the experience for my clients, but also for my body as I continue to grow in age and mature. And I really see how when I am, classic example, like if I'm sick, that does not equal a great experience for clients. But when I'm in a healthy mindset, healthy emotionally and physically, that kind of allows like for an offshoot of better experience for clients. So I think it just makes me want to be more intentional with the time that I use to take care of myself. And it's really great that when I take care of myself, it ends up also like being also allowing it to be helpful for the small business too. And also just continuing to grow and learn also in like my own ways of wanting to develop professionally. So continuing to do research and look into even more of like the latest information that's released on personal color analysis. That's also really good for your brain to continue to learn. And, at heart, I love teaching and learning. So that's also something that I like to spend use of my time knowing that will also help to grow the business in a positive way.
I hear that. I think also this is a kind of a unique career where your career is around color analysis, but like you said, it's a small business owner as well. I'm curious, what are maybe some strengths, some weaknesses, or just some like blessings you've discovered along the way in that aspect?
Yeah, it's so cool how every stepping stone that you're able to experience in the career field, in your professional experience, you really get to learn the ins and outs of that role or of that company that you've had. And I think it's the same way with being a small business myself now. It kind of allows you to enter into the world or the mindset of other local business owners. And I think that's also similar to what I shared with you during our one-on-one, Joey, where I say how, how they say that unless you become a mom yourself, you're not like really in the realm of the mom.
Or like knowing, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true.
And like, even though I might like, try to blend in or like, yeah, I get it. Like I can empathize. No, unless you become a mom, like you really wouldn't be able to know to that full extent. I see that with small businesses too, how now I understand what it's like to kind of have that hustle mindset again, or being able to always think like, how can I maybe like collaborate with this person, but truly to help each other out because I really like what they have to bring and like I can't bring what they have to bring. So maybe I can also tie that in with my expertise, and just being able to even start thinking in that direction is so new for me that I've been really enjoying the people who have also reached out in the past, and even with some of the other local business owners or photographers, who was willing to just kind of spend time getting to know each other and take headshots. Yeah, truly in that sense, I really, like that was my first taste of this is kind of what it could be like. And I really appreciate that I get to experience this because I did not experience that before as just a Instagram user. So
no, I think I hear what you're saying too, like in terms of supporting new moms or whatnot. I think anyone can be of help, but also when you are a mom, like what exactly hurt or like what exactly might have affected that person that you can't really put to words sometimes, and like I feel like in general with small businesses, all that hustle you were talking about, right? Like now how can we become our own community or like to support one another? And I think when that's done, one, it's like super healthy. And just to hear how you've been able to connect with your clients, but then also connect with others around you just shows, one, that you're doing something right, obviously, right? And like the ability to form those connections or relationships are like also what I feel like will sustain small businesses, long term. But I'm really glad that that is something you've been able to experience as well. Before we kind of close this episode, I am curious if you would want to share anything else about Ne Color, or if there's anything that you wanted to put onto the mic that maybe we didn't get to talk about.
I just want to say this because I think there is so much content, and social media is so saturated with so much kinds of information coming from all different types of people, like myself included. So just to reassure anyone who has a certain concept in their mind of what a personal color consultation could look like based on what they saw in the reels, I would never tell someone that you should never wear that color, because you absolutely can wear that color, especially one if it makes you feel good and if you feel confident in it. That alone is good enough. I would never try to convince you out of that feeling, because that's also not very much what drives me to do this service as well. And also too, if you think about it, there are so many celebrities like K-pop idols, for example, who can pull off so many different colors and looks and styles. And this is very much the case, not because they're just K-pop idols and they're these flawless creatures that can pull off anything, but it's the fact that they have all of these colorists and stylists that know how to coordinate their hair color, eye color, makeup tones, clothing, to the shoes, to the nail color, that when all of that is cohesively put together and like tied up in a pretty ribbon, it's gonna work, because the relationship of colors, they have a certain relationship that allows them to complement each other in that way. So all that is to say is, if you wanted to wear a certain color and you feel like this is the color that really works with you and you feel good in it, then there's no reason for me to argue with that. And I would definitely tell you, on my part, some colors that I personally wouldn't recommend or are not bad based on what I've learned through color theory. And of course, I would also say which colors are definitely the best, given how it's really enhancing some of your beautiful attributes.
I love that. Do we have to wear white if we come to see you? Is there like a color you prefer us to wear as a client, I don't know. That's a question I thought.
Yeah, someone did ask me that before the consultation. So no, you don't have to wear a certain color, because regardless of what you wear, I would place a white cape over what you're wearing. So whatever color that you're wearing doesn't interfere with the drapes that I'm going to place over you.
Okay, got it. And I am curious, starting a small business is also a decision you have to make, not just for yourself, but then also for your family, and you are married. And I'm curious what that change or transition might have looked like for you guys. Give me a little snippet.
Yeah, in a nutshell, it definitely was a two-person involved process, decision-making. Yeah, I am very thankful that Michael, my husband, is someone that was willing to see himself the gifts that God really did allow me to have. And I think for him to be able to see how much joy and the impact that I was able to have in providing this service to other people, he said that it didn't really make sense for him to be the one to not support it, or like to tell me to stop based on like his own human thoughts, or like limited thoughts with his limited knowledge. And I think it also helped to kind of involve my husband in the business process. Yeah. So like no surprises, nothing where I just come out of the blue and say, hey, I'm going to do this and kind of want you to support it. It would be nice, So when I was first debating whether I should even take the course in Korea or not, I hesitated a lot. And that's because of all of different excuses that I've made for myself, whether it was, the price or like the time investment, and what if I just don't end up liking it, But then I think Michael giving me a different perspective, or helping me look at it from a different angle of, hey, if that kind of financial / time / energy investment is what it takes for you to realize that this is actually something that is what you want to do, don't you think that's worth it? And I think being able to kind of have someone so close to me to even encourage me in that way is truly what slowly allowed me to open up to the idea of leaning into this passion. Whereas, I really do want to say I think it would have looked different, or maybe this process would have taken longer if I didn't have someone like my husband to walk beside me and truly just encourage me and really try to look at it objectively from just like a loving husband heart, and like also pointing to our Heavenly Father's heart of like, don't you think this is something that God would want you to use? If this is a gift that you have, and if it really brings you so much life and joy and it's your passion, you know all of these good things are from God, you know? So Michael played a huge role, and I really do appreciate him in willing to make his sacrifices too for allowing this to happen.
Aww. Go, Michael. Shout out to the lipstick that he must have thrown to you at the earlier reels, you know, because I think a supportive husband was behind the camera as well. But hearing that, you know, him really redirect you, not to his voice, but to God's voice, is a really big encouragement to hear. And I think even for me, being an Enneagram coach and this being a podcast about the Enneagram, we're not going to talk too much into it, but I think just listening to you share more about your heart, well, the type 2 in general, right, is known as the helper. I feel like for you, you were talking a lot about missing that purpose. Like you were still excelling, whether it be in teaching or connecting with people, relationships, all things that are important for Enneagram 2s. But I think at the core of it is, are you bringing value or purpose or meaning to your work? And if in an ideal world that could happen, I feel like because a 2 would be able to contribute in that way, like it would be such an amazing thing to see pan out into fruition. Does that make sense? You're able to bring that depth. And I think when a 2 is empowered to bring like depth out of something, like I think that's like the perfect place for them to be. I don't know if that makes sense. And so I see that so clearly. And like, not only do you find that purpose for yourself in this job, but then because you can see that value, self-confidence just light up in your clients, like I feel like that's like a game changer, you know? So all that to say, like, it's so clear that for you, you're in a field, your own field that you created for yourself, right? To really allow your clients to be comfortable and you to really be like walking out in that best self as well. I think it's really encouraging to see. And I think I resonated too, because I am coaching in a different way, but like what ways as 2s are you able to create those relationships and bring out the person that God really intended you to be, you know? And I think like that's something that's really powerful to hear and something I'm taking away from listening to you as well. And so to close it off, what are some exciting things we might be able to expect from Necolor in the near future?
Yeah, well, being a creative, as I mentioned, my mind is always
running,
always creating, truly. And, you know, I will say I definitely have some exciting ideas that I would love to implement, that I am slowly trying to experiment here and there. But I do want to take it slow because I want to be intentional with the things that I do put out there and intentional with the services that I curate. And I really want to make it truly the best that it can be before I just put it out there and expect people to try it out. Yeah, I am still like so open to doing podcasts like this, Joey, where I get to just collaborate and learn other people's stories and their expertise, and very much like excited for all of those new things that I have no control over, but very excited for how that would unravel.
You know, something I'm learning about you is like, not that I wouldn't think it, you know, I do think it, but like, right, is you're so intentional. I'm like realizing how much thought goes behind the scenes, right? And like, not that you're not willing to go for it, which you clearly, there's a whole business that's like thriving right now. But like realizing that intentionality behind every step is it would make me feel safe to be here in that, like, you know, you're getting the best. I feel like you're putting in the best so that the client can get the best. But I also wanted to read the other review by Maddie. There's so many good ones, but these are just a little bit longer. Maddie Curry wrote, "Thank you so much for the color analysis for my sister and I, a double experience. You were so thorough and knowledgeable about personal color and made me feel comfortable the entire time. It was so eye-opening to find that so many colors I typically wear did not truly suit me. I've already started my closet clean out to make way for pieces in my best colors. I believe everyone should come see you to find their colors, and I will continue to recommend you to everyone who will listen. I will likely be gifting sessions to family and friends for Christmas as well." Well, Maddie, you can enter this giveaway because if you're listening here, you'll soon see that I I get to announce with Ne Color or with Michelle a giveaway happening where she gets to partner with Click It Studio, which is the photo studio that also has color backdrops as well, which I think is a kind of a cool way for even these different businesses to share in a certain camaraderie, if not. But that's where I took Michelle's advice and even did the pink backdrop. I actually did pictures at this studio. So I think that's like me applying it in a different way. And so I'm excited to announce that Michelle is giving away $100 off to one of her color analysis sessions where you can get it for yourself. Or if you win, you could, like Maddie, gift it to somebody for Christmas and the holidays as well. So stay tuned this weekend because that's when we will be announcing this giveaway and we're excited to see who wins. What do you think, Michelle?
I'm so excited.
Thank you. Okay, so I'm going to ask you 5 rapid fire questions, okay?
Okay.
Surprise. All right. Rapid fire. Before you knew your color type, what did you hope you were?
Oh, I hope that I was autumn.
What did you get?
I got autumn soft.
Oh, did you say autumn soft?
Autumn soft.
Oh, you're from New York. Okay. Oh, wow. You must have had an eye for yourself. Okay. If you could trade lives with anyone in this world, who would you trade lives with for one day?
Maybe a dog?
Oh. Okay. What is one thing you hope to cross off? Wait. Okay. What is one thing you hope to soon cross off of your bucket list?
Yeah, to continue to see this business run for however long.
Okay, what are 3 words that you would use to describe yourself?
I would say extroverted, creative, bubbly.
Yeah.
Oh, this was a test.
Very good. Check. And last, I asked this to some of my guests sometimes. If you could describe yourself in a fruit, what would you say you are and why?
As a fruit?
Mm-hmm.
That's so cute. Oh my gosh. Are we talking fruits of the spirit? Are we talking like edible fruit?
What about both for you? Because your other questions. Yeah, what fruit of the spirit? Yeah. And then what, 과일, you know?
Oh my goodness.
I probably said that so bad.
Sorry, Holy Spirit. How dare I compare? Oh, a fruit to eat? I love berries. I guess I'm partial to strawberries and blueberries. Oh man. And I know this is of course you would say that, Michelle, but it's truly the color. It's so vivid and it just screams, I'm full of antioxidants. I love color. It's just so pigmented. It's so purposeful. It's nothing that's just kind of maybe a sheen of, just a sheer light, kind of watercolor infused. It's just bam, blue, red. Yeah.
I feel like you gave the perfect answer. Wow. I've learned you're also quite nerdy, in a very...
Oh, yeah.
I would think Michael's the nerdy one.
Oh,
which could be
gosh.
true.
Yeah.
But you're also
yeah. Oh my goodness. No, I could definitely go down specific things and I could literally talk about a specific topic all day if it's truly of my interest.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow. Very interesting.
Yeah.
I love it. Okay. Well, where can we find you? Drop your handle. What is it?
Oh, okay. It's at NAE _ color. And then I recently started TikTok, but Instagram was slightly longer. And yeah, TikTok is same handle.
Oh, yeah. TikTok. Okay, well, now live for TikTokers as well. Well, Michelle, thank you so much for coming onto the podcast and sharing a part of your heart that I think is so specific to you and a reminder of all of us who are called to do certain things and bring it out. So I would definitely echo Michael for listeners to think about what if you were to also, whatever that could be, right? What if you brought that out into this world, whatever giftings God has given you, and really just bring his heart here as well. And so I'm really grateful to hear that side and hope all of you here enjoyed listening to another episode of Kohler